Okay, hello and welcome to Narayana IAS. I am Pratik, faculty for Daily News Analysis. Students, before we begin today's DNA, let's go through a motivational quote. And what is today's motivational quote? Success isn't given, it's earned by hard work, persistence, and creating your own opportunities. Which means, in order to clear examination, to be successful, you need to absorb the traits of hard working, persistence. Make sure you're working hard, you're persistent, you're not bogged down by the, let's say, the failure of prelims or means. You're consistent, you're perseverant, and finally, make sure you emerge as a successful person, right? So let us begin the DNA of the day by going to the topics or understanding the topics that we shall be discussing today. The first topic is taken from Hindu page number 8. This article talks about the change the manufacturing sector in the world is seeing or going through, especially the developed countries adopting sophisticated technology in the manufacturing sector, and where is India standing in the manufacturing sector vis-a-vis the world, and what are the challenges India is facing and how India can overcome it. The second article is taken from Hindu page number 12. In this article, we shall understand the concept of total fertility rate. We'll understand what is fertility rate, then we'll understand the concept of total fertility rate, and in context of the total fertility rate, what is India's number. Third article is taken from Indian Express, page number 12. Now, this article talks about the loan the IMF has disbursed to Pakistan. So, here we'll understand a few key terms, and then we'll also understand the reason why India abstained from voting, or the reason why India raised concerns with respect to IMF disbursing the loan to Pakistan. The fourth article is taken from Indian Express, page number 12. Now, this article talks about why the farmers in our country predominantly focus more on rice and wheat. So, these are the four articles, topics of the day that we shall be discussing in today's DNA. Let us start with the first topic. A fundamental reset to drive manufacturing growth. Now, this article again, the manufacturing challenges and growth is what we are going to understand in this article. Again, it comes under the category of GS paper 3, not 2, and Indian economy and issues relating to planning mobilization. Why this topic is important? Because of the question asked with respect to manufacturing sector in the examination, as it was asked in the year 2017. The question is, account for the failure of the manufacturing sector in achieving the goal of labor intensive exports. Suggest measures for more labor intensive rather than capital intensive exports. So, questions on different sectors, be the primary sector, manufacturing sector, tertiary sector, service based sector, can be asked in the examination. So, let us try to understand what exactly is the context. Okay, now see, India is at a very pivotal, that is, turning point in its manufacturing journey. In its manufacturing journey, India is at a very crucial phase. Now, even with efforts like, let's say, the National Manufacturing Competitiveness Program, right? National Manufacturing Competitiveness Program, the Make in India campaign, the share of manufacturing sector in overall GDP is still low in our country. If you see the world is shifting towards, let's say, innovation driven, which means idea based, highly advanced technology, right? The world is moving. For example, let's say countries like Germany, Japan, South Korea, USA, they focus on smart technologies, which means they use smart technologies. If you see, and what do you mean by smart technologies? We have the robots, where the robots, artificial intelligence, semiconductors, data analysis, to make what? Why they are using sophisticated or modern technology? Because to make the production faster and better. So this kind of manufacturing where the advanced countries are adopting smart technology, right, is less about cheap labor and more about smart ideas and new technologies. So India needs to rethink and improve its plan to match the global pace, else India might fall behind. India is lagging. So here we need to work on the manufacturing sector, use sophisticated technology, and what India can do, to, let's say, drive innovation in our country is something that we shall be understanding in this topic. I hope the context is clear. Any questions? Let me know in the comment section. Now, shift in global manufacturing and trade. Trend towards high tech innovation led manufacturing. As I told you, the world is moving towards advanced technology. For example, which is advanced technology is innovation based, idea driven manufacturing. Now, the global supply chains now focus on products that use semiconductors. For example, artificial intelligence, robotics, precision tools. The need for medium, high and high tech products is growing fast in the entire world. So, trend towards high tech innovation led manufacturing. If you see the developed, or let's say countries like China, they are moving closer towards high tech manufacturing sector. Rising importance of research and development and skilled manpower. Now, the R&D is now very important. Countries that lead in manufacturing have invested massively in R&D. This helps them produce more and add more value to the supply chain. They also have skilled workers who are good at both the technical work and also creative problem solving. This is number 2. Impact on trade protectionism. Now, trade protectionism, which means that is high taxes on imports, is affecting global trade. We all know that, we all are witnessing it. For example, countries like the USA have raised tariffs on many goods, but over time, a country's success in manufacturing will depend more on its own strength than on short-term trade tariffs. So, this is how the world is witnessing a change in the way manufacturing sector is changing. If you see how is India faring in the manufacturing sector, these are some numbers. Low per capita, that is per person. India's per capita manufacturing value added is only $0.32 thousand, which is drastically below the global average of global average is $2,000 per this per capita. Please remember, this shows that India is still focused on low value manufacturing process. Number one, lagging productivity. India's productivity in manufacturing is $8.9 thousand compared to global average of $32,000. Look at the productivity, and this low productivity reflects inefficiencies in process or using old technologies. Low innovation output. When productivity is measured through R&D related outcomes, India lags behind both the developed countries and many East Asian economies. For example, productivity per R&D linked output is only $159,000 in the US, 103 in Germany, but only $21,000 in China, still ahead of India. So again, India is lagging much behind. Comparative gap in value addition. India's total manufacturing value is $461 billion, far behind China, 4,000, US 2,000. Look at the number. So these are some statistics to show how India is lagging behind in the manufacturing sector. Now, let us try to understand the challenges India is facing and what India can do in order to overcome the challenges. First one is insufficient R&D investment. India spends only 0.65% of the entire GDP on R&D. This is one of the lowest among the major economies, and because of this, India finds it very difficult to innovate and build high tech, that is advanced technology products. Next is weak technical education system. Now India's engineering, it focuses too much on rote learning, that is memorizing instead of understanding, and they just focus on written examination. It gives more importance to grades than to real world problem solving, and as a result many students graduate without practical experience or knowledge of modern manufacturing methods. So the problem lies in the education system. Over reliance on IT and artificial intelligence. Now while the IT and AI are important, no doubt, India must also focus on core engineering fields. This include mechanical, civil, electronics, chemical, and also let's say production engineering. Now these areas are needed to actually build machines, factories, infrastructure that actually power the industries in our country. The fourth challenge is lack of integrated manufacturing ecosystem. This is very important. Now, unlike the service sector, tertiary sector, where startups in fintech and edtech get strong support, manufacturing startups in India do not have enough help. They often lack access to shared R&D, let's say labs or tools, for because you need it. Why? For let's say rapid prototyping, testing setups, and also certification centers. So the integrated support is also missing. What has India done so far? First is economic liberalization since 1991 in India. In the year 1991, India opened up its economy to the world, which means now the countries could invest in our country. These reforms, it laid the foundation for the country's industrial growth. The second is the National Manufacturing Competitiveness Program, the one that we discuss in the context now. This program was started to help Indian manufacturers improve quality, increase the productivity, and also develop better designs. Then the Make in India campaign. Now this campaign aimed to turn India into a global manufacturing hub. The Make in India campaign, it encouraged investment, supported innovation, and focused on building world-class infrastructure for factories. The fourth is sector specific focus. Now some special schemes were launched for certain sectors. Which sectors? Like electronics, medicines, and automobiles. These help those areas grow, but the benefits have not yet reached the entire manufacturing sector. So these are the programs that India has launched so far. Now, what can be done? Way forward. What is the way forward? Now, first one, as it is mentioned over here, reform the technical education. Focus on education. How? By improving the entrance examination. The entrance test should not just be about how tough they are. They should check creativity, basic understanding, and real life problem solving skills. Curriculum, that is syllabus, to repair or overhaul, change. The syllabus should focus more on how to apply concepts, not just memorize them. Students should work on real industrial problems from early on. Then hands-on learning priority. At least 50% of the engineering subject should be practical. This includes using tools, running machines, designing products, and building working models. Establishing advanced labs and workshops. Now, to set up labs with real machines, tool rooms, and small assembly lines. This gives students real world training and space to experiment. First is focusing on the education, that is engineering education. The second one, reinforce core engineering disciplines. Build foundational skills in the traditional streams. Now, For example, which are the traditional streams? Mechanical, civil, textiles, electronics, metallurgy, biotechnology. They still are the key sectors. They help build industries and infrastructure like roads, buildings, machines, and more. So one, you have to build foundational skills in the traditional stream. Next, to develop engineering infrastructure. India must create large engineering setups. They should offer customized solutions for different areas like plains, hilly regions, deserts, and then the coastal regions as well. Then create an innovative ecosystem for manufacturing. How? By establishing state level manufacturing parks. Now states should build ready to use factory spaces with roads, electricity, water and legal clearances already in place. This helps industries start faster. Second is to support for R&D and product development. Now these parks must offer tools for designing, testing and certifying new products. This makes innovation quicker and easier. Next is promote industry academia collaboration. Very, very important. Now, the engineering colleges should update their courses to meet local industry needs. They should also let manufacturing startups use their labs. So, this is something very, very important. Next, to scale up, increase public investment and policy innovation. How? By increasing R&D funding. India must raise its R&D budget from 0.65% to at least 2%. This matches what other major countries invest in innovation. Invest in industrial infrastructure. Now, at least 1% of the GDP should go to build strong industrial areas. Then we also have transport, then research centers. So this is important, that is to invest in the industrial infrastructure and then adopt agile and forward looking policies. Now make flexible modern industrial policies. They should keep up with the global technology and market changes and help India to stay competitive in the entire world. So these are the things that we need to do, to ensure that India matches pace with the global manufacturing ecosystem. So all in all, please remember, if India wants to compete globally, slogans are not enough. We need a complete reset in how we teach engineers, build strong infrastructure, support innovation and invest in industry. Only a clear, long-term and all-round plan can help India become a top manufacturing power in this century. So these are the things that we need to do. I hope you understood the first topic. Let us move on to the next topic. Total fertility rate in India remains at 2.0. Bihar records highest count, Bengal lowest. So here we'll understand the concept of total fertility rate. You can map this under GS paper 1, that is under Indian society. So see, a question on population growth has been asked directly in the examination. Let us try to understand the context. The latest sample registration system report for 2021 reveals that India's TFR has stabilized at 2.0, indicating that the country has effectively reached near replacement level fertility, which is at 2.1. The report also highlights regional disparities, differences in different regions in fertility rates, changes in population age structure, and signals of demographic transition that are critical for policy planning and economic strategy. So this is the context. But here, before we understand this topic, it is important to understand few key terms. And which are these key terms? First, we'll try to understand the concept of fertility rate, and then we'll understand the concept of total fertility rate. Now, what is fertility rate? Now, fertility rate measures how many children are born in a population. How many children are born in a population? It helps us understand the growth pattern of a country's population. So this is what we understand fertility rate, how many children are born in a population. Then what is total fertility rate? Now total fertility rate is the average number of children a woman is expected to have during her reproductive, let's say, phase. So fertility rate, number of children born in a country. TFR is the average number of children a woman is expected to have during her reproductive years, which is between 15 to, let's say, 49 years. And then what is the replacement level TFR? So what is TFR? We understood. What is replacement level? Now a TFR, total fertility rate of 2.1 is called the replacement level, which means at this level 2.5 the population stays stable, not growing or shrinking if there is no migration. So population or a TFR of 2.1 is considered to be the replacement level. This is something that you need to remember for your prelims examination as well. Now the 2021 sample system that we discussed in the context, India's TFR has come down to 2.0. Now this is a key moment in India's population journey. It means the country is now below the replacement level. Now the important thing that you need to note here is while this is a good progress, the TFR is not the same across India. Some states still have high TFRs while others are much lower. Also, urban areas usually have lower TFR than the rural areas. Now, these are few facts that you need to remember for your prelims examination, because at times in the pre-examination they ask you certain, let's say, certain facts, sentences, and you need to identify the correct statement. Disparate. Now, for example, Bihar has the highest TFR at 3.0, more than the Delhi and West Bengal report the lowest at 1.4. Urban areas show a TFR of 1.6, which is less than 2.1 compared to 2.2 in the rural regions, highlighting socio-economic and developmental divides in the rural areas and the urban areas. So this is the statistics. You can simply go through this chart. Now let us focus on some numbers. India is undergoing a demographic transition. The share of population aged 0 to 14 fell from 41.2% to 24.8%, while the working age group 15 to 59 grew from 53 to 66, presenting a potential demographic dividend, which means the demographic dividend is in favor of India. Why? Because the working population is more in our country. Simultaneously, the elderly population rose from 6 to 9%, with Kerala 14.4%, leading in elderly share, reflecting advanced demographic maturity, which means now the population is growing older. The mean average of marriage for females increased from 19 to 22, contributing to delayed childbearing and reduced fertility. So these are some stats. You can quickly go through these stats. So again, states like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Maharashtra, the southern states show TFRs well below replacement level, less than 2.1. But states like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, the TFR is more than 2.1. So these are some stats that you need to remember for your examination. Now, policy implication of this TFR. Now see, the finance minister has announced a high-powered committee to study the population changes. But full and clear policy action is still awaited. For example, the delay in census 2021 makes it hard to fully understand how our population is shifting. In the meantime, the sample survey registration system gives us some insightful or helpful data. The first is with respect to state-specific interventions. I told you some states have still a high TFR. In these areas, we need focused efforts like improving education, offering better family planning, empowering women through awareness and let's say access to all the required things. So this is one. State has to help. Elderly care infrastructure, especially in states like Kerala. In states where the population is getting older, Kerala, strong support system is needed. This includes pensions, good health care services to care for the senior citizens. Next, skill development and employment. Now, to use our demographic dividend well, to take advantage, to take leverage, we must train our young population. We need to, let's say, better focus on skill development programs and more job opportunities to match the potential of the young minds in our country. Next is comprehensive data systems, including the overdue census. Now, good decisions need good data. India must carry out the delayed census and build strong ongoing data system, as this will help create better and more targeted policies in the future. So this is how we need to proceed. I hope you understood the second topic as well. Let us move on to the third topic, all about IMF loan to Pakistan, why latest tranche was passed. In this, we shall understand the concept of extended fund facility, and you can map this under international relations as well as under Indian economy. So question on IMF has been asked, as it was asked in the year 2019. What is the context? On May 9, 2025, the IMF approved the disbursement, that is giving away of $1 billion to Pakistan under its extended fund. So this term is very, very important. Extended fund facility, a critical development in the context of South Asia's macroeconomic stability. This move has brought total disbursement under the current EFF arrangement to $2.1 billion out of approved $7 billion package initiated in September 2024. This is, which means IMF has lent money to Pakistan. Now, this term EFF, Extended Fund Facility, is important to understand. Now, what is IMF Extended Fund Facility? Now, the Extended Fund Facility, it's nothing but it's a financial support. It's a financial support offered by the International Monetary Fund. It helps the member countries facing long-lasting balance of payment crisis, which means they are struggling to pay for imports or repay the foreign loans. This is what is referred to as balance of payment crisis. Now, these problems often come from deep structural weaknesses in the economy. The EFF is designed for countries that need medium to long-term economic fixes, especially when quick solutions they won't work. That's the reason EFF comes into picture or is, let's say, helpful or meaningful. This is about the EFF. I hope you understood the concept of EFF. Now, the key features of EFF, it's a loan, not grant or aid. So, very important point for your purpose is to support structural reforms, that is to focus on the macroeconomic stability. Usually 3 to 4 is the duration, repayment extending to 10 years, conditions linked to reforms in areas like taxation, fiscal governance, institutional transparency. The IMF notes that such arrangements are for economies that lack a productive pace, inadequate infrastructure, skilled labor, and strong financial institutions. So this is all what Pakistan lacks. That's the reason IMF has dispersed money to Pakistan. Look at the condition of economy. Pakistan 2024, look at the inflation rate, which is growing from 10.7% 2020 to 23.4%. GDP is growing marginally. So this is the condition of Pakistan, and they are fighting a war against India. Now, Pakistan has availed 28 IMF programs so far in the last 35 years. In addition to IMF, countries like China, UAE, Saudi, Asian Development Bank and the Paris Club also disperses, let's say, loan or let's say help to Pakistan. So Pakistan is a country that always borrows. You know what we call in the common language, right? Now, why was the latest tranche released? Now, why was it released? Now, there's something not important because now IMF says that Pakistan has worked on certain key indicators. That's the reason. See, the steadfast implementation of the financial year 2025 budget and the passage of key fiscal reforms underpin the process of rebuilding policy making credibility. For example, Pakistan has reduced public borrowing. The significant drop in inflation like 0.3% in April 2025, strengthening of foreign exchange reserves, progress on tax reform. So these are the areas in which Pakistan seemed has worked, and that's the reason IMF has agreed to disburse a loan of $1 billion to Pakistan. Now, what is India's concern? India's concern is that Pakistan is misusing the fund, the loan it gets from different countries and global institutions to support the terror-based activities, or let's say to support the proxies like Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hizbul Mujahideen. So the global institutions or the countries that give money to Pakistan, instead of working or improving the economy, Pakistan is actually supporting these terrorists who then wage a war against India. And then India also raised a concern with respect to global institutions that the global institutions at times indirectly are supporting terrorism, because the world knows how Pakistan has been supporting terrorism not from 5 years, not from 10 years, but from the last 4 to 5 decades. It's high time the global institutions have to take up the responsibility, own the responsibility, and stop funding Pakistanis the money so that Pakistan stop supporting the terrorists, and this is how we can completely eliminate terrorism from the region. I hope you understood the topic. Now, next topic, why farmers prefer rice, wheat. So here we'll understand the rice and wheat pattern. You can map this under GS paper 3. So question was asked in the year 2020. Now what is the context? Now this topic explains why most farmers grow rice and wheat. The main reasons are the main reasons why the farmers predominantly grow rice and wheat is assured MSP, that is minimum support price procurement, and there's also improvement in the crop yield of rice and wheat, and there's also strong support from the government through research as well to rice and wheat. That's the reason these crops are grown dominantly in our country. Now, which are the reasons? So one is assured procurement under the MSP. Now the farmers growing rice and wheat, they get strong government support through MSPs. Now these crops are almost bought by the government. They are always bought by the government even when the market prices fall. This gives the farmers a sense of security, especially during the uncertain times. So the farmers know that if they grow this crop, doesn't matter what the market rates are, they'll get a fixed income from the government. That's the reason the farmers who are majorly vulnerable, they focus on rice and wheat. Then second is steady yield improvements. Now thanks to government's backed research and crop breeding, rice and wheat yields have gone up steadily in our country. For example, the average wheat yield improved from 3.5 tons per hectare to 6 tons in newer ones. For example, these are the different breeds of wheat. Then high productivity with less green revolution, right? Like these are the variants. It brought in semi-dwarf lodging resistant traits with better fertilizer and water response. Rice variety, these are the rice varieties evolved into shorter duration, higher yielding types, reducing the risk of climatic shocks. So this is high productivity with very minimal risk. Let us focus on the statistics. Punjab, paddy areas, rice rose from 29.5 to 32.4 lakh hectares. Telangana, area increased. Madhya Pradesh, cotton area in Punjab. So these are some numbers that you can read by your own. Again, this is a picture that tells you about how the rice and wheat are predominantly grown. Now, policy and technology bias. Now see, most of the government's research, or let's say infrastructure and support schemes, have focused on rice and wheat. Advanced qualities or traits like drought resistance, disease control, as well as nutrient efficiency have been mainly developed in these two crops, and this gives them a big advantage over other crops. And then what are the implications? What are the implications for other crops? Now, crops such as pulses, millets, and oil seeds do not get the same level of support as rice and wheat. There's also discrimination among crops. Even though they are nutritious and environment friendly, farmers find them riskier to grow. Why? Because there's no MSP. They have limited MSP coverage, poor procurement, that is buying system, and slow progress in yield improvements as well. That's the reason the farmers do not prefer. And this stops the farmers from switching to these environment friendly, or let's say more nutritious crops. This is the fourth article. I hope you understood all the four articles of the day. Let us quickly go through the questions. One, a reset in manufacturing requires more than just policy slogans. It demands systemic reforms in education, R&D, and industrial infrastructure. Again, a very easy question. First, you have to mention the state of manufacturing in the world, how the manufacturing sector or the face of manufacturing sector in the world is undergoing rapid transformation, and where India fits into this rapidly changing manufacturing ecosystem. This is what you mentioned in the introduction. Then in the body of the answer, first mention certain statistics with respect to manufacturing, right? These are the statistics. Then mention the systemic challenges and then the solution. Now this is what we already have discussed: low R&D, outdated technical education, just focusing on rote learning, or let's say marks, weak linkage between academics and let's say the industries, and then the solution part. Now this is a question based on the DNA or topic that we discussed yesterday with reference to the recent trade tensions between US and China. Consider the following statements. Okay, the US imposed cumulative tariffs up to 245% on some Chinese goods as part of the ongoing. Yes, this is what, or this was the headline. So this one is correct. The recent bilateral trade talks were held in a neutral country under the aegis of UN. Yes, this one is also correct. China has expressed willingness to lower its tariffs without, no, this China has not expressed any indication of lowering its tariffs. So this one is incorrect. Correct answer is option B. With reference to recently developed rice pangenome, consider the following statements. It includes only the core genes common to all cultivated. No, it also includes the unique genes. So this one is incorrect. It was developed using high fidelity sequencing technology and data from both wild and cultivated rice. This one is correct. The study supports the hypothesis that all Asian cultivated rice evolved from the Orilla group of white rice. This one is also correct. So this is what we discussed yesterday in the DNA topics. And then students, these are the DNA topics based on the topics that we have discussed today. So make sure you answer these questions in the comment section. This brings us to the end of today's DNA. I hope you understood each and every topic. Any question, feel free to ask in the comment section. And before we call it a wrap, make sure you are hitting the like button, subscribing and sharing it as much as possible. Thank you so much for watching.